Today marks 1693rd day of daily lessons, day reflections. And today I speak about questions. It's interesting because sometimes I reflected that there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to really reflect on. There's nothing that is in my mind. And it seems this nothingness comes into maybe a season is good, but sometimes really you want you to reflect on something. You want to really look into something deeper. And I think that it's great to have some questions to ask that we need to ask ourselves on a consistent basis so we can become more wise when we can to find something to really reflect on, just to make sure that we're able to really develop ourselves all the time. So today we'll share 7 questions, 7 beautiful questions that we're able to ask ourselves on a consistent basis, just to make sure that we are on a good path. So number one, what am I avoiding by staying busy? What am I avoiding by staying busy? This is a beautiful question. For a long, long time, I didn't understand this question because I loved grinding. I liked hustling. I liked performing. I liked doing things. And if I'm not doing it, I felt that I'm not enough. And my boredom was attached to performance, of action, of grinding, of doing things. And I think that is a beautiful thing when you realize that sometimes you hustle not just because you want to achieve great things, even though that's great and that's a great byproduct, but sometimes we do things, grind and perform is because we want to avoid things. We don't want to look into things internally. We don't want to look into things externally, maybe even. And we be able to ask ourselves, what we avoid? What do I avoid by really hustling all the time? And then we can say, like, I really want to pursue this big vision. Yeah, but like, try to really look into maybe there's something, maybe there's some specific thing that you actually even avoid just by really being busy. Fear, regret, decision, conversations, so many things could be that we actually avoid. Number two, if nobody ever applaud me again, what will I still do? That's a beautiful question because you're saying, okay, what is important for me? What is important for me? What is non-negotiable for me? What would I do if nobody cared? But I care. And then again, the beautiful question is, what do I care about? Because that's sometimes people say, like, who am I? Who am I becoming? I have no idea. And so being able to look into what are my non-negotiables, what do I really care about? And I think that's a great thing to really look into what you are willing to do when nobody is looking. And I think that's a really, really great question. Number three, what I'm pretending not to know. Again, knowing puts you in a position that it requires you to change. And I learned that sometimes we really don't want to know. And it's like, oh, what's I supposed to do? And it seems confused. And I have seen in myself and I've seen a lot of times in other people. They just don't want to understand. They don't want to understand because understanding will require them to take accountability. And they don't want to take accountability. So that means they will be confused. And we need to really look into ourselves and say, like, what am I actually pretending? And really, it's not easy to face the hard truth, but it's necessary to become the best version of ourselves. The longer we delay and the longer we pretend, the less time we have to really stay who they truly are. Number four, what is costing me the most energy right now? What's costing me the most energy right now? I always speak that energy is the most important resource in life. So it means we need to protect it. We need to protect our energy and be consistently, all the time. We need to reflect, okay, not just what takes my most time, but we need to ask what takes my most energy. Where my energy goes, where is the drainage? Maybe there's some friends, maybe there's a work, maybe there's something. What could they do? Maybe I'm not able to change immediately because there is relationships, there is work that you're not able to, there's people depend on you. Not able to change immediately, but you're able to start taking action that you will allow to take yourself out of the things that actually drain your energy. Because this needs to be audited on a consistent basis because we always add things in our lives that potentially could be draining our energy. Even the conversations that are the pretend delayed is draining energy because we thinking about it and being able to really go and have a conversation that removes that drainage. Decisions are the same way, so we need to understand, okay, what is draining my energy? Mental energy, emotional energy, and those needs to be solved. Number five, which version of myself am I protecting? Which version of myself I'm protecting? It's interesting because I know by myself that some days you live by the mask, not who you truly are, because you want to belong, you want to enter, and some days you just never knew who you are, and you just build a mask around certain things. And when you really start growing yourself, improving yourself, then we start asking question: Who am I protecting? Which version of myself am I protecting on? What labels have I created to myself, and what label do I protect? Because when you protect the label, it stops your growth. Because if you say, I'm a smart one, this is label that you position yourself. Now you're not able to really go on and do things that you will look like stupid. Because if you really want to really be smart, you need to do things, learn things, develop yourself, improve yourself, have the knowledge. But if we're protecting that image of smartness, that means we don't want to make mistakes. Otherwise, we will not look smart. So protecting is one of the worst things that we can really actually do for ourselves. And then we ask, okay, what do I protect? Because the best way to live is live a life of taking calculated risks, not protecting image. Number six, in my life, if my life repeated forever, would I be satisfied with today's direction? I learned from my mom. I'm always used to ask a kid, like, what that will lead to in 5 years, 10 years, if you keep doing what you're doing right now. I know that sometimes people say like, oh, I just will for a very short period of time. I will do only for a couple of years. But if you do, what will happen? I think that sometimes we need to build urgency about our actions because sometimes say, oh, I just will stay for one more year, and then they say decade in the same job, in the same relationships, in the same environment. I'm guilty of that as well. So like I'm not any different, but we need to really understand that our direction matters today, not tomorrow, today. And being able to not maybe if you go into this direction and maybe I'm not able to do 180 degrees immediately, maybe you need to start switching 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, and within 80, 100 days, you might be able to really go to opposite direction without overwhelming yourself. And that's the question that we need to ask. Okay, what kind of behaviors do I need to adjust just to make sure that I move to the right direction? Number seven, what would remain if everything external disappeared? No job, no money, no reputation, no nothing, no achievements, no social media, no talents, no nothing. What would stay? And it's a beautiful question because now you start looking to your core. What is in my core? Who we truly are. And yesterday, like I was thinking about this as well. I kind of went to uh, I live in Vancouver. There was a big, massive game, Australia against Turkey, FIFA, and there were so many people. And I learned myself that I really love people in general. Like I am able to go and see and I enjoy conversations with people. This is something that I do, and this is what is one of my core aspects. And I think that every single person needs to understand, okay, who are the core of them that when everything else potentially could fall apart, when you do not know who you are, when you still try to figure out who you are and who you want to become, what is the foundation of you? And this is a beautiful question. What is the foundation of you that most likely never change? Maybe even the things that you admire about yourself. And I think it's a great question I always ask him. What would remain within me when everything else falls away? So I hope you reflect, and I think there's so many great questions, but this is a great start to think about. So I hope you choose win and see you tomorrow.